Hello and welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn. Today we're going to continue our look at the people cards by looking at the knights. Now, the knights, even though they're in four different suits of swords, wands, cups, and pentacles, as a generic group, they come under the big umbrella of fire, of inspiration, action, exploration. Those are the kind of themes that will fit all of the knights, irrespective of their suit. The knights, as we shall see, also come under the chariot energy. And we can think of each of the knights. The chariot perhaps is a commander in chief, and each knight is an officer riding out on behalf of that chariot energy. Now, we mustn't think that the knights are male particularly. They can just as easily be a female embodying this energy. Typically, we would think of them as young, active adults at that phase of life where we need to prove ourselves, to establish our place in the world, test our mettle, set ourselves challenges, and hopefully meet them. However, you may be employing a knight style energy if you want to launch something, if you need to take active steps to get there. And the kind of phrases that come to mind are things like, get the show on the road, get the party started. These are knight type energies. Okay, so let's have a closer look at them as individuals and as the Knight of Swords. Swords are the fastest moving element in the deck. Their action takes place in days, and the Knight of Swords certainly has a lightning quick response. We can see him here hurtling into the fray, sword drawn, ready for battle. His speed creates a breeze which blows his horse's mane as well as the plume on his helmet. The airy element is further emphasised by the moving clouds and trees. A strong wind is blowing. As with the Page of Swords, we can see the wheeling birds representative of thoughts. The air element, we know, is about thinking and communications. This knight could be springing to the defence of a philosophy or viewpoint, using fighting, powerful words. He could also be producing a storm of mental ideas. There can, though, be something a little disturbing about the figure of this knight in full charge. He can look quite formidable and warlike. There's also a concern that we have about that speed. It may be a marvellous thing sometimes, but is it always for the good? The Knight of Swords comes under the energy of Gemini, the astrological sign of Gemini, and can be incredibly agile, witted, charming, and highly communicative. But I want to just take a little closer look at the way the rider is relating to his horse. We've seen another mounted rider. We've seen two, actually. We saw the child in the sun, who's in complete harmony with the horse. We saw the Six of Wands, where the horse was very tightly reined in. And in this instance, the horse is being ridden incredibly hard, and it does look rather afraid. The horse is rolling its eyes. It doesn't look terribly happy. And this denotes perhaps the potential for a little bit of a poor grounding here, a bit of a dissociation from the earthy concerns, the basic practicalities, and also perhaps for the physical side of things, the practical physical side of life could be being neglected a little here. There could be that aspect of the knight rushing in where angels fear to tread. We think of air as being about communication and thought. The Knight of Wands can be a wonderful force fighting for the good. But if the knight acts or speaks before he thinks, then we're looking at a different situation. The Knight of Wands. After the swords, wands are the next fastest moving energy in the deck. Their action usually happens within weeks. This is a freedom-loving knight who craves challenge and adventure. He's full of passionate, fiery energy. Even the horse is fiery coloured like the knight's plume, and the cloak which looks like flames behind him. The horse seems as energetic and frisky as the rider in this case. The Knight of Wands is never afraid of trying out something new. He is confident and enthusiastic, an inspiring maverick, always looking for the next venture and adventure. This is a dynamic, entrepreneurial spirit. The Knight of Wands comes under the astrological sign of Sagittarius, and he can be full of optimism, far vision, and huge energy. However, flip side is that he can be very bored by routine, by the daily grind of life. This cannot be very inspiring to him. He can start things with huge enthusiasm, but sometimes not quite finish them. He might be off on the next adventure, the next thing to look for, chase after. Next to swords, which are the fastest moving element, the next fastest moving element is fire. And when we're looking at the fire element, we're looking at weeks. With swords, it may be days or even quicker, but with wands, it tends to be weeks. We can measure time in weeks with this element. The Knight of Wands is generally very dashing, but as with the Knight of Swords, he can rush in a little too quickly with things. And he can also be rather accident prone, as something to watch out for. Fire is a wonderful element. Where would we be without it? But it can be a little insensitive. And at his worst, this knight can burn up other people as though they're fuel, just to feed his thrusts forward. The Knight of Cups. We're looking at a very different energy from the two previous knights when we come to the Knight of Cups. His pace is quite different. His horse is ambling gently along the banks of a river. Unlike the sword and wand, which are brandished by the Knights of Swords and Wands, he holds a cup out before him, presenting it as an offering. There is much more of a sense of relationship to others here, indicated by the proffered cup. The Knight of Wands is dreamy, romantic, imaginative and sensitive, poetic and creative. When this card shows up, it can be indicative of harmonious relationships and artistic projects. Whereas swords flash by in days, wands follow in weeks. With the cups, we're often looking at slower timings relating to months. The Knight of Cups relates to the astrological sign of Pisces. If we look at the card, we see that the river, the meandering river there that the knight is following, threads its way in a very leisurely way across the landscape there. And this is a knight in no particular hurry and maybe not even sure of which direction he's going in. He's going with the flow, he's ambling along, he's following the river, he's following his dreams. And if we're not careful, things may only stay in the realm of dreams. This knight maybe needs to concretize what he's pursuing a little bit. He is a very dreamy, poetical presence. And it has to be said, we're in a society that doesn't particularly value this energy in males. So it may be difficult to be a male. The Knight of Pentacles. Of all the knights, only the Knight of Pentacles is stationary. His horse looks solid and strong, and it's black like the earth. The knight has decorated the horse's head harness with the same greenery on his own helmet. This is a knight with a fine respect for the physical world and to his own body. He considers the pentacle carefully. The field behind him is already prepared and ploughed. He has cleared and prepared the ground for the task in hand. And when he moves, it's going to be in a well-planned, effective way. He will not rush, but he and his horse have the strength to see the task through. This is the slowest acting of the knights. Pentacles relate to years, to more enduring periods of time. If you're attracted to the mental gymnastics of the Knight of Swords, or the fiery passion of the Knight of Wands, or the dreamy poetry of the Knight of Cups, you're going to find the Knight of Pentacles a little slow. But if you want a job done, well executed, thoughtfully planned and completed, and you want someone that you can rely on, then the Knight of Pentacles is your man. It's an interesting little exercise to imagine that the kings and queens want to throw a party and the knights are there to get the party started. So, the Knight of Swords, he gets communicating with everybody, all the invitations around you, spreading the word, everybody knows the party's happening. The Knight of Wands strides in, dressed to thrill and kill, and commands the room and starts the dancing and attracts a lot of attention. The real Romeo of the party arrives a little late and looks a little lost, but he is the genuine sort of heartthrob there that everybody's going to notice. That dreamy, considerate person who helps you when you spill your drink and looks very meaningfully into your eyes. And the Page of Pentacles, well, he arrived late afternoon and helped the host set up all the tables ready for the food, and he's also set up the sound system for the music. He's a guy you can rely on. Okay, so that's a very quick whip through the knights. They're not the end of the story, though. They are how the energy of their suit has developed from the ace through the 10, through the page, and to the knight, to this taking action. But we're going to see the enthroned energies, the king and queens, in coming videos. So I look forward to seeing you again then. Bye-bye for now.